It is a huge privilege to be re-elected to serve this constituency, the incredible community of Holborn and St Pancras. My home, where my kids have grown up, where my wife was born. And I have to thank Vic and my family more than anyone for their love and support and for keeping me totally grounded.
This is going to be your first proper Friday in the job, if we don't count last Friday when you just won. Are you going to be able to knock off at 6?
All I ever said was an aspiration to spend time with my wife and children, which I do think is important. But look, we've been hard at it, and I think you can see that in the first week. We've achieved a huge amount. We've been out here at the NATO summit, a really important opportunity, been across the United Kingdom meeting all of the leaders, you know, in Scotland, in Northern Ireland and Wales, made a number of announcements on the economy. We've really done what we said we would do, which is to hit the ground running, to understand the nature of the challenge we have that was left by the last government, roll up our sleeves and get on with the first steps to fix it.
When you won, give me your hand there, pal. And we're the best of allies maybe in the whole world. And we really need to continue to cooperate, and a lot we can talk about. You're seeking closer ties in Europe is good for all of us. The Transatlantic Alliance, I think it's a great idea that we're going to be working together on.
But the special relationship is so important. It's forged in difficult circumstances, endured for so long, and stronger now than ever. So we're very pleased to be able to come so early in the government.
I kind of see you guys as the knot tying the Transatlantic Alliance together. The closer you are with Europe, the more you're engaged, the more, because we know where you are, we know where we are.
Never in doubt.
Very glad to be meeting you in this capacity. To come as Prime Minister is really important to me. As you know from the get-go, there is no reduction in our support. The UK has led in terms of the support for Ukraine. That approach continues, as does every other bit of aid and support that has been in place. The position has not changed.
All the messages from your government and team and from people in United Kingdom, we are very thankful for your words and steps, which were important. Thank you that you are with us from the very beginning of the war. Thanks for all the military and financing packages and support. Thank you very much.
I hope you can sense from my voice just how frustrated I am to have discovered, not this, we knew there was going to be a problem, but the scale of the problem is worse than we thought, and the nature of the problem is pretty unforgivable in my book, having worked in criminal justice. To have allowed your criminal justice system to get to a state where you simply haven't got the prison places for prisoners, this is a predictable problem, is shocking. And I think that when further details are released of this, you'll have plenty of extra questions for those that came before us.
They've also told us that we can't just listen, we've got to go and do something, so fully intended. You were just saying that right now young people are getting rules away from school and fall into crime, and issues sharing people being targeted attractively schools. Yeah. Once I've done that with them, don't let me interrupt. Yeah, there's a few things that I'd like to say. Yeah. That's really cool.
In the UK election, you didn't much like to remind voters that you were a leader and proponent of a second referendum. But here in NATO, is your Remainer status a benefit with fellow EU leaders who didn't much like Brexit? And if I may, when I asked you earlier if criticism of President Biden's cognitive ability was misjudged, you told me yes. Is that still the case? And if so, do you feel sympathetic towards him over this mortifying mistake he's just made? Thank you.
Beth, on the question of engaging, I mean, we've engaged with pretty well all the leaders that are here. That has been a huge benefit of being here within a week of forming a government. So we've had very productive meetings, very many bilaterals with leaders of the NATO countries, including European leaders. And yes, that is about a reset. It's about a reset of our relations. Not actually about an institutional reset. It's not about going back into the EU. But it is certainly a reset because I think for very many people there was a sense after Brexit that the UK had become too inward-looking, was not as interested as it once was in its place on the global stage, on the international stage. And I've wanted to reset, to change the posture, if you like, to say that the UK is confident, is back and wants to make sure that we play our leading part in meeting the threats of the world faces, which are, I think, more intense now than they've been for many years, to increase our trade and investment across the world, to deal with climate change. And all of that is part of the reset. But it's a posture, if you like. It is. The UK is back. It's confident. We want to play our part on the world stage. I've always believed we've got a huge amount to offer on the world stage. And I think that that's been very well received by colleagues, both from Europe and elsewhere. And I'm pleased about that. Sort of part one, because next week we have the EPC, which we are hosting, of course. And so for our European partners, EU and non-EU, we get the opportunity to follow up on those discussions. But it has been important for us to deepen relations that we actually started in opposition and make sure that we are that confident, outward-looking country that I know we're so good at. Thank you so much, Beth. Look, on President Biden, I can't really say more than I've said already. This was a successful council. He led it. He deserves credit for that. The outcome that matters is that Ukraine, they are, look at what happened in that hospital last week. They are facing Russian aggression in its physical sense every single day. They are dying every single day. Children are dying. And they need our support. It is not just support for Ukraine. It is also about our values. And it is about what we stand for. It's about what NATO values are. And we've had a successful outcome on that. And I think that is a good thing. I think people have worked really hard for that. That doesn't always happen at the end of councils like this, but we've reached a declaration which has been signed off. It is good, and now we follow through on it. And President Biden deserves credit for planning this, leading this, and getting us to that stage.
Pictures of him. He was with the King, he was with Idris Elba, talking about knife crime today in St James's Palace. There he is, and members of the new cabinet. I mean, it's been a very busy first week. I can't believe it's only a week ago that we were getting the results in. He's been in Washington at NATO. He's going to be hosting European leaders next week. Here he is with the King. How do you think this first week has been for him?
Oh, I think he's been having a pretty good week, as he said. I mean, I don't think he can believe the week he's had. I mean, he's elected, he goes to Washington. We were talking earlier about the problems with the prisons, and yes, this is obviously an issue that has come at them, but they kind of knew what they were going to do about it from reading between the lines, and they know how they're going to try and essentially say this is all the problem that we've inherited from the previous government. But overall, it's been a pretty good week. And of course, it could be crowned on Sunday with the most extraordinary. He's going to be in Berlin for the genuine football fan, we have to say. He's going to be there. I mean, imagine if England win the Euros within about a week of him taking over.
It is extraordinary if you think that the timing was all Rishi Sunak's doing. You know, he knew that the new probably Labour Prime Minister was going to be going to NATO and hobnobbing with Joe Biden. He knew that the Euro final was going to be this weekend and that potentially we'd be in it. So he sort of handed Keir Starmer this on a plate.